Good evening. You're now with me, Razi Ahmad, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim vows to break Malaysia's cartels, promising continued crackdown on smuggling and corruption. A married couple from KUCHING is busted in a METH sting in Kalimantan and face charges under Indonesian law. And protests in Indonesia become even deadlier, with 3 killed in a fire in Makassar. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says the Madani government will not compromise in its fight against cartels, long accused of undermining Malaysia's economy. He calls breaking their dominance a key achievement. Proof, he says, of his administration's commitment to protecting the people's interests.
Bahawa kerajaan Madani telah memecahkan tembok kartel dan terus kita berperang. Saya sudah panggil badan-badan penguasaan, fight them. Fight the cartel, fight kumpulan-kumpulan yang menggunakan cara-cara haram dan khianat untuk merusakkan sendi negara ini. Kita tidak tolak ansur, saudara.
Anwar also said that breaking up Malaysia's decades-old chicken cartel proves what clear political will and strong enforcement can deliver. But he warns the fight isn't over, as he vows to continue battling smuggling, corruption and abuse of power.
The federal government is on high alert after a series of mild earthquakes rattled Segamat. Following this, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi is urging residents not to panic, but to stay vigilant as authorities continue monitoring the situation.
Saya telah melaporkan kepada Mesyuarat Jemaah Peti semalam. Kali kelima telah berlaku pada jam 4.34 pagi semalam. Dan dengan bacaan 3.4 skala Richter, dan saya telah diberitahu oleh Ketua Pengarah METH dan juga Ketua Pengarah Jabatan Mineral dan Galian, pemantauan akan terus dilakukan dan insya-Allah kesiapsiagaan untuk seluruh penduduk Segamat dan Johor pada amnya akan terus dipantau oleh Jawatankuasa Bencana Negeri dan juga peringkat negara, insya-Allah. Saya harap mereka jangan panik, cuma dalam keadaan siap siaga untuk mudah-mudahan tidak sebarang bencana yang besar berlaku.
Another tremor has rattled Segamat, this time a magnitude 2.7 quake early this morning. It's the 5th in just over a week. Malaysia's meteorological department says the epicenter was shallow, about 10 kilometers deep near Johor.
In other news, a married couple from KUCHING is under arrest in West Kalimantan, accused of trafficking meth across the border. They were nabbed in Singkawang on August 17th after an undercover police operation.
The couple was stopped in North Singkawang while driving a 4.
Bagi pelajar-pelajar di sekolah ini, setiap hari berjalan seperti biasa. Aktiviti yang serupa, wajah yang sama.
KUCHING is under arrest in West Kalimantan, accused of trafficking meth across the border. They were nabbed in Singkawang on August 17th after an undercover police operation.
The couple was stopped in North Singkawang while driving a four-wheel vehicle. Inside, officers seized 2 packages with a durian logo hiding 2 kilos of meth. Police said the suspects had offered the drugs for 250 million rupiah, about 64,000 ringgit per kilo, in a video call with undercover officers. The pair entered Indonesia through the Aruk border in Sambas, evaded inspection, and claimed they were only couriers. Police believe a major trafficker is behind the operation and have coordinated with Malaysian police through the consulate in Pontianak. The couple now faces charges under Indonesia's narcotic laws.
A teacher accused of slashing his wife's neck and then turning the knife on himself has been remanded for 6 days. The incident happened last Wednesday in Taman Tunas Muda, Bayan Lepas. The remand order, running until Thursday, was issued today by Magistrate Zairin Zainuddin at the Balik Pulau Magistrates Court.
The 30-year-old suspect is being held under Section 307 of the Penal Code for attempted murder. He showed up in court with his left hand heavily bandaged, escorted by police just after 9 this morning, represented by defense lawyers Yazid Khairul Asman and Mohaimin Hashim. Earlier reports says the teacher and his wife were both injured in a violent domestic altercation at their home in Taman Tunas Muda, Sungai Ara. According to Southwest District Police Chief ACP Sazali Adam, the attack was triggered by debt, bank loans for the stock market and e-commerce installment payments. Investigators say around 6 in the morning, the husband slashed his 28-year-old wife's neck, then turned the knife on himself. The horror unfolded as the victim's mother heard her daughter scream while preparing for morning prayers. Both have since been discharged from hospital.
The viral case of the late Zara Khairina Mahathir in Sabah is sending ripple effects across the country, triggering a wave of police reports on bullying in Kelantan. In just 2 weeks, authorities there have received 5 reports from students and parents alike. Kelantan Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Yusof Mamat says the case has made the public far more alert to bullying, both online and in schools, with students, parents and teachers now moving quickly to lodge reports.
This marks a shift in attitude from hesitation and silence to immediate reporting following Zara Khairina's death, which prompted national outrage and widespread discussions on child safety. The authorities explained that the viral case has made the community more aware of the impact of online harassment and has pushed victims to come forward rather than suffer in silence. In one high-profile incident in Pasir Mas, 6 Form 4 students were detained after allegedly bullying a Form 3 student. Their arrest sent a strong message to other schools across the state. Police say they acted quickly after the victim's family filed a report, demonstrating a new level of trust between the community and law enforcement. Although the 6 were released on police bail, the case is still active. Investigation papers have been completed and submitted to the public prosecutor for further action. Authorities said the fight against bullying goes beyond enforcement. Every school in Kelantan now has a school liaison officer tasked with prevention, monitoring, and building trust with students. In addition, more liaison officers have been deployed to engage communities at the grassroots level, part of a broader strategy to curb bullying and cybercrime before they escalate.
In other news, Sarawak Governor Tun Pehin Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar has reaffirmed that the federal constitution is the bedrock of good governance and the rule of law. He stresses that every government policy and decision must be rooted in a solid grasp of constitutional powers, legal frameworks and their historical context, warning that without it, policy failures are inevitable.
The many failure, I can't find a word. The many failure in a policy of the government because we fail to understand, 1, the law, 2, the history behind the creation of the law, that each and every government officers are responsible to enforce or to perform or to produce results.
Speaking at his statesman lecture at University of Technology Sarawak in Cebu, the governor laid out a roadmap for good governance rooted in law and history. He says the executive power in Sarawak flows from the governor to the state cabinet, then down to ministries, departments and statutory bodies, all bound by both federal and state constitutions. He drew a sharp line between Malaysia's system of constitutional supremacy and the United Kingdom's model of parliamentary supremacy. And he closed with a warning: effective governance requires strict respect for law, integrity, and constant review to make sure every decision truly serves the people.
Meanwhile, the Sarawak governor is pushing for the Darul Hana redevelopment model to become the blueprint for all Bumiputra land projects across the state. Speaking at his statesman's lecture at University Technology Sarawak, he urged the success of Darul Hana be replicated in Kapit, Cebu and Barab, and said he's already informed the Premier the model must be adopted statewide.
Dr. Wan Junaidi stresses that the Darul Hana is more than just a housing project. Darul Hana represents a system that preserves culture, identity and property ownership for Malays and Bumiputra, and he is urging the Premier not to change this approach. He also pointed out that the Darul Hana is one of the oldest Malay settlements in Kuching. While expansion may lead to restructuring of neighboring villages, he says the names and heritage must be safeguarded.
At least 3 people are dead after protesters torch a council building in eastern Indonesia. The unrest follows nationwide demonstrations after viral videos showed a motorcycle taxi driver run over by a police vehicle during earlier rallies over low wages and lawmakers' perks.
In Makassar, the island of Sulawesi's largest city, protests spiraled into chaos. Crowds torched provincial and city council buildings, hurling rocks and Molotov cocktails as clashes with authorities turned violent. Authorities said the 3 people were killed after being trapped in burning Makassar City Council building. At least 4 people were injured in the fire and were being treated at hospital. In Jakarta, hundreds gathered outside the headquarters of the Elite Mobile Brigade Corps Police Unit, blaming it for the death of motorcycle driver Afan Kuniawan. Protesters hurled firecrackers, police fired back with tear gas. Indonesia is facing its biggest, most violent protests under President Prabowo, less than a year into his rule. He's urging calm, ordering an investigation into the driver's death and accountability for the officers involved.
Seandainya diketemukan mereka berbuat di luar kepatutan dan ketentuan yang berlaku, akan kita ambil tindakan sekeras-kerasnya sesuai hukum yang berlaku.
President Prabowo has promised rapid state-driven growth, but he's already facing backlash of a sweeping budget cuts to fund his populist billion-dollar free meal program. This week, the protests had spread, erupting in major cities from Yogyakarta, Bandung, Semarang, and Surabaya in Java to Medan in North Sumatra.
And those were the updates on TVS Nightline. I am Razi Ahmad. Thank you for watching.